I believe you, man. I know you watch a lot of film. All right, guys. Let's do the daily debate. What do you think? You guys ready for this?
I love debate.
Sure.
All right. Now, this is going to be one that's going to be fun because we have options, and then we have other. And so that means, you know, we can definitely expand a little bit on our thoughts. So here we go. Here's the question for today. Dustin Poirier is frustrated and adamant about fighting either Conor McGregor or Tony Ferguson. Who would you rather see him fight next? I want you to answer this as a fan and as a media member, you know. Here are your choices: McGregor, Ferguson, or other. Goes.
Who am I first, the fan or the media member?
The fan. The fan's a quick one. Give me a quick response.
The fan is Conor McGregor.
All right. And the media member, like making it all make sense.
I don't see them giving him that fight right now. I think they want to give him other, and the only other thing that makes sense is, A, if he does other, he's going to have to restructure his contract according to him, right? But I think a good other fight for him would be Nate Diaz. I think it's one of those fights where I don't think you're going to lose too much, but a lot of eyes are going to be on there. They're going to want to see that fight, and I think it would be a fun fight because every fight that involves those two guys is always fun.
So revisit what they almost did last year in New York. Okay. Dan Tom?
Yeah, I got to go with, I think Conor McGregor would make the most sense because, as you know, I'm a champion of Tony Ferguson being the right guy to fight for a title, for a title that he already earned and didn't lose. So I would take him right out of that and go Conor McGregor. But I also agree with Goes as far as that they're not going to give it to him. So I would also like to suggest an other. Now, let me put this caveat and says this was not my top choice. I do not want to see Max Holloway go to 155 yet if he doesn't want to. But everybody keeps trying to push Max Holloway into the fold, but they're trying to push him into either the title fold or the Conor McGregor fold. I say give Max Holloway a chance to avenge his first loss, career loss, first UFC loss to Dustin Poirier. That fight, I think they're big enough to where it could be a super fight. It could headline. It could be somewhere big, and it doesn't necessarily destroy the contender queues because you still have to weed out lightweight, obviously, what we're talking about, and even featherweight. You could argue that Volkanovski and Edgar, though, I wouldn't hate for either of those guys for their next fight to be for a title. You could see the UFC definitely pairing them together to kind of whittle out a clear contender for 45 while that fight takes place and keeps Dustin busy and would certainly back for his chances on getting a higher signing.
Right. Okay, man. You guys really nailed it. I'm going to go as a fan and say I would want Dustin Poirier to fight Conor because I think it's haunted him. He accepted it like a man, but I remember a tweet he put out the next day or 2 days after. He said, man, that one really hurt.
Yeah.
You know, so I'd love for them to dance one more time, but at 55 because they both went up. Not to make excuses that there was a loss because of whatever reason, because they both basically drew themselves out to get to 45. All right, and as far as next, I think they are going to go with Khabib and Conor. Therefore, I think Poirier should fight Ferguson.
Man.
But I want to see him get that contract, too. Not to say I don't want to see that, but I want to see him fight Ferguson. My first choice is like Dan. I want Ferguson Khabib, but it's just what I think. I've heard it enough times now to start to believe that they're just going to revisit the rematch. And so we got to keep these two guys busy. What sucks is we're going to knock out two quality challengers, two quality title challengers for whoever's at the top. And I hate doing that. But if there's one division where this can happen, it's lightweight because you got others. You got Iaquinta. You got the Barbosa weight Gagey winner. If Kevin Lee wins, you know, same thing. You know, they won't have any shortage of guys. But man, how can you look Tony Ferguson in the eye? What is he, 13-1?
Oh, dude. Yeah.
I think he's 13-1 and go.
That would be brutal.
You need one more, pal, before you can fight for the time. I mean, how do you do that? And then Poirier, the year that he's had, same thing. Like, how do you keep these guys waiting? We need to start making decisions. I want to start hearing about April 13th fight bookings. Those are pay-per-view, and these are pay-per-view stars. Get on it, UFC. The results of the voting, it went 2,200 votes, just a little bit, came over, and 55% went with Tony Ferguson, 32% went with Conor McGregor, 13% went with other.